All right, Jasmine Dennis, thank you so much for taking some time to be with us. We've already had an amazing, insightful conversation before hitting the record, but now that I've hit record,
Yes.
tell me a little bit about your first of all, your website, your background is amazing. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but it's pretty cool. Let's talk about Jazz D Health.
Okay, great. So Jazz, the health and wellness, was born out of about 20 years of in the health and wellness space. Building health and wellness facilities from a hole in the ground, including three for the former heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox Lewis. And at the time, I was with another business partner, and they heard I was on my way out to go do my own business. And, Lennox and Ty Domi had owned a facility in the city, and they said, "We want to talk to you." And I said, "Oh, you want to talk to me? I'm going to do my own thing, but I'll come listen to you." So, long story short,
Let me
they
jump in
wanted,
real quick. I'm going to
yeah,
jump in real quick already.
yes,
You just
yes.
said Ty Domi and just breeze like Ty Domi, former NHL hockey player.
Yes, yes, yes,
Oh
yes.
my
Ty
goodness,
Domi
he
and
was a
Lennox.
bruiser.
Yes, he was a bruiser. So he and Lennox had owned this facility in the city. And, I got a call to go in because I was out from the other one to go do my own. And I was determined to do my own. And I went into the meeting with Lennox and I walked in very cocky and said, "You know what? I listened to you, but I'm going to do my own. I'm just going to do my own." So long story short, I said, "I'll consult with you for 6 months. I'll get your business up and running, and then I'm going to offer on my own." When I was walking out, he said to me, "So how can I sweeten the pot?" And I said, "Well, if you want me to be your assistant to do dry cleaning, nothing wrong with that, but that's not my skill. My skill is getting down there with the hard hat, helping build affiliates and bring it back to success." So then, he said, "Well, I'm going to sweeten the pot and I'm going to have you like, come shadow one of my boxing events." That was in England at the time. And I did, and I wrote him what I thought was going on. And that's, take it from there. We did it all over the world, Vegas, wherever, South Africa, wherever. However, when he moved his business out of Canada, I went into real estate, knowing that my passion is totally health and wellness. Because I thought I have a lifestyle I have to keep up. Maybe this is the best place to merge into. I had great clients, don't get me wrong, and I'm good at it. But my passion is health and wellness. And during those times when I was building facilities, at the time, I went into the facilities, into a corporate company and said, "You know what? I want you to give your employees the gift of health. I want you to not give you can give them the watch and you can give them the vacation, but what about the gift of health?" It took me hard to get to the top to get it done, but yes. So my sales staff didn't have to work for a year because this whole corporation would come in and they're just signing up memberships. And the city of Toronto was one of our big clients at the time. So in the real estate, my mind and my heart, when it's your passion, when you're put on this earth for something, you can run, but you can't hide.
Mhm.
They used to give my dad, who is a minister, a hard time and said, "Your children are not looking like they're Christians." And my dad would always say, "Give it time. They'll come to Jesus on time." So it's the same thing with Jasdi Health and Wellness. So what I try to align myself with corporation to prevent burnout. So I go from the point of a compassionate leader, because a compassionate leader would also have emotional intelligence, and they would see like burnout is one of the biggest, and I have a book on that. Burnout is one of the biggest. The World Health Organization says it's an occupational phenomenon. So what I try to tell employers is not us coming in and slapping you on the hand and say you don't have a corporate program and you don't have a leadership development program. We want to now integrate where you have a wellness culture,
Mm.
where programs are designed because we spend a lot of time at work, right? And I'm telling you right now, a healthy work, and as you see on my website, if an employee is healthy, they're going to take it home to be healthy. They're not going, and when they go home, they don't understand why, sometimes the wife or the husband is upset and they're crying because, my book says hidden signs identifying emotional burnout. And so, because you have the hidden signs of emotional burnout, it's not recognized quite often. So I like to give a visual demonstrate, make it very visual. And I create this burnout pie, two pies. One has empty slots and one has 8 slices. Dr. Dan, if I come to you and I said, Dr. Dan, I'm going to give you a peach pie right now. And if you eat it all at once, you're not going to feel that well. But if you slice it up and if you pay attention and mindfully eat the slice, you're going to enjoy it more. So in a burnout pie, I would lay out the hidden signs of lack of sleep, which is so hidden. You don't know why you're sleeping. You think you had too much caffeine that day, or you think you're stressed. That's called burnout. So there's sleep. There is, chronic stress. There is irritability. There's poor performance at work. There's detachment. And even the children in the home. You don't understand why one of your kid is acting up. And, if you really do that emotional and say, you know what, I'm going to not just say, Johnny is a bad boy or whatever the case may be, I'm going to go beyond that. You might find out that he's experienced a stressful time at school, and it's the same time at home, the man cave thing. Why do you think we have the man cave thing? He just wants to go
Right.
in there and feel himself again. But a wife will take it very personal. So what I tell my clients is to visualize this pie and eat slices, 8 slices, not a lot because there's way more burnout symptoms, but we're going to deal with 8. And I want you to take, for instance, sleeplessness.
Mhm.
And I want you to just work on sleeplessness. And, we'll go through to help you to get to feeling good. And I know in your practice, Dr. Dan, you're pretty good at getting people to feel themselves and feel good, right?
That's the
So I said,
goal.
yes, so I said, we're going to take these steps so that you feel good, so that you are getting to the point and you're going to find yourself maybe, oh my God, maybe a week. Oh, I slept through the night. I do it myself. When I sleep straight through the night, I'm going, girl, you're doing good.
Well,
Yeah.
that's really interesting because I run into so much sleeplessness in my practice. So many people are struggling with getting to sleep, staying
Yeah.
asleep, sleeping long enough. And like you said, that is just as, I mean, that is a sign of so many other underlying problems.
Absolutely. So when they have conquered that sleeplessness,
Hmm.
however we've designed that program, because I'm also a certified herbalist, I know all the bushes that, they say God makes a bush in the forest for everything we ail.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right? So when we get to that point where we take that, the goal is for that person or that company or that department or that leader to say, I can now shift that slice of sweetness over to the empty pie, and that you're going to grade that as I'm sleeping. So there you go. Until you address. So then you're going to say detachment at work. What the reason I'm really honing on compassionate leadership is because at work, that leader herself or himself could be in burnout mode and not knowing. But be able to identify, make it so that they trust you to come and say, I'm having a hard day at work today, and I'm on this hamster wheel of going, 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 going. That compassionate leader has to leave the door wide open so that an employee can come and work on the next piece of their pie, which is detachment at work, low job performance at work, So that compassionate leader will also recognize symptom. Oh, maybe I feel like that employee. And the deadline, constantly trying to get to that deadline is detrimental. Let me tell you a quick story. I have a friend of mine, and I was meeting her to do something one day. And when she came in the car, she had tears in her eyes. And I said, "What's up?" And she had her phone in her hand and she says, "I feel like I could just have you run over this phone right now." And I said, "Why?" And she said to me, I have to take the phone even to the bathroom. My boss makes me take it so I don't miss an email and I don't miss a call. And
It's
I said to myself, did you talk to your supervisor? Did you talk to your boss and said, you know what? I would like at least that little time, maybe to go outside and do some laughing yoga. Which people don't understand the benefits of laughing yoga. The mind, they say, doesn't know really what's real from what's unreal. You laugh yourself back into a state of happiness. If you can, trust that individual to say, I really would like to leave my phone on my desk, and I really like to go do what I need to do. She says, no, I didn't tell her anything because she'll probably fire me. And I said, well, you have to, if you get into the stage where you're at right now, you really have to say, do I ask for help there or do I leave and go get help for my sanity? Because it's not, there's a reason why they say, like I said, the World Health Organization says it's an occupational phenomenon. And we walk around with all eight slices. Most people walk around with all eight slices. And until it gets to, somebody just called me and said, "Did you hear this popular guy just dropped dead from a stroke?" And I said, "No wonder, because it's everywhere." It's so even though I hone in on the corporation takes it to the community, and the corporate and the individual at the corporation take it to the home. So you're healing across all spectrum. So that when you get to a place where, and there's some companies that do it quite well.
Good. That is
Well,
refreshing to hear.
yeah, there's some companies that do it quite well, and it starts from the top down. I usually say to the compassionately, do an individual, do a checkup from the neck up,
Mhm. Yeah.
and so this is my spin on corporate health. It's, Dr. Dunn, like I tell you, it is not a sexy job. Most people, you don't go to some people and says, "I'd like to develop a wellness program in your corporation." You're going to get pushed back every single time. And you're going to have to say, you know what, I'm here to serve, I'm here to help, and I don't even have to be here. You can pick
Right.
your most trusted leader, and I can work with that leader to bring a corporate culture into your work. I mean, a wellness culture into your corporation, into your organization, into your home. And so that's what, I think I was put on this earth to go do. I don't know why. Could be some of a lot easier jobs.
Well, I tell you, your passion and your knowledge definitely comes through just in this conversation. I've got kind of a two-pronged question here, right?
Yes.
The World Health Organization tells us that burnout is such a critical situation in the work
Yes.
environment.
Yeah.
I guess the two questions are, how do you define burnout? Because it has such a big definition, but why do you think it's become such a problem in the past decade or so?
Because like it's hidden, the signs are hidden, and it's masked by so many other things.
Mm,
If you walk through the door and you says, "You know what, Jasmine, you look tired today." I might say, "Oh, I didn't get that much sleep." Well, what is the root cause of that? So, you have to get to the root, and because it is hidden, you walk, and myself included, I catch myself, and only because I'm in this field, I catch myself if I'm short, if I don't have the patience when I pull the car to the garage, and I don't have the time and the space because I'm rushing, and I don't give it time to warm up, or when I get to work, I don't, go to the door with an employee. If you stand back and watch, sometimes I do a little secret work if I'm going to, trying to approach an organization, I will go on the main floor of that building and I will just stand and watch. And it's just 15 people try to go the one elevator at that time because they got to get there and they got to get it done and they got to get there and they got to be.
everybody's in a rush. Yep.
Everybody's in a rush. So I would say, Dr. Dan, is to, first of all, you have to identify it. You have to do a checkup. You have to sit with yourself. You have to be mindful to say, how am I feeling today? Why am I? There's a reason for everything you do in life. You know, if you walk down the street and a guy waves to you and say hello, he's not just waving to you and say hello. He might like you, might like to have a little 5-minute conversation with you, right?
Right. Right.
So there is a hidden cause and a hidden reason for everything. And it takes an emotionally intelligent leader and a compassionate leader within the workforce to say, you know what, my team is constantly underproducing. What is it?
Right.
Without admission, without, chastisement, without laying off. When I was in the wellness business and one of the wellness facility it took from, it was supposed to be a 40,000 square foot facility. Then it went to a 60,000 square foot facility. Then it went to a 75,000 square foot facility, and it was in building for 7 years.
Oh
And
my.
because, one of the part owner at that time was Mr. Canada, and he was in association with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where they trained for bodybuilding. And so Joe Gold, the head of Gold Gym, once a year has this big soiree in California for all the gym owners. And I remember we went to that, and everybody had to stand up to see what projects you're in and what you're doing. And I stood up and, I said, oh, my name is Jasmine Dennis, and we're building this, this beautiful facility. It's been building for 7 years. You could drop a pin. I think people's forks were dropping on their plate. And during that time, Dr. Dan, I must have lost every single employee because they didn't have the patience, they couldn't see further, or, they were like saying, this is going to burn me out, I can't do this. But I always say to them, wherever somebody is going, take yourself with you before you decide to quit an organization. And this is what I try to stress. We're not here to have employees walk out on their jobs because they're burnout. We're here to say before you take that drastic step of going somewhere else, check in with yourself. Is it me? What's causing me to feel that way? What's causing the child to go to school every morning and cry every morning?
Mhm.
Before, don't want to go to school, don't want to go to school. You got to stop and check. And a little quick story again, because I weave my personal life in there because I like to lead by example and to show that I'm just human like everyone else. When I had my daughter, young daughter, and we had a babysitter, and I had to take my daughter to the babysitter. But every time the babysitter opens the door, she would choke me. She doesn't want to go. She'll hang on so tight. So what I did, I went to work, but I did a spot check during the middle of the day. And when I got there, I not she had my playpen there. When I got there, I could hear the kids all crying, in her apartment. But then I heard laughter down the other apartment, and so she was at her friends watching soap opera and left all the kids. So when she came in, there was four other kids in my child's playpen.
Oh
So
my goodness.
yes.
Oh.
So you have to check, and it brings you back to if you have a team, if you yourself, every day you go to work and you're having a stomach ache, just do a check-in with yourself. If it means this is, no one's going to change and it's not conducive to your health, then you leave and you seek the necessary help that is going to make you well. We're all here to be well, and my framework is wellness. And what wellness spells is a lot of things.
Mhm.
We all need to, and we all can be well.
Mhm.
You know that, doctor.
Well,
We have
it's
the
the
ability to
goal,
be
right?
well. Pardon me?
We have the ability, but you're right. When we work in an environment that does not allow that, my mentor, Dr. Viktor Frankl, would call that
Oh,
the Sunday neurosis, right?
oh,
When you're preparing Sunday night, you know Monday's coming, and you're just all tied up, and you feel sick and angry and grumpy, and you don't want to go in the next day. That's a big cue for burnout right
I
there.
I have that, but I write a book on that because it will tell you my job started at Workers' Compensation Board, and
Hmm.
and what someone would do not to go to work, in that, I had my experience in, Mondays at work, and there's studies that show there are more heart attacks that happen on a Monday,
Sure.
more suicide, unfortunately, that happens on a Monday. And
Hmm.
people, you get Friday, and you might say, "Thank God it's Friday." And you go get some beers, and you have a good time. And then Saturday comes, and you kind of feel good halfway through Saturday, but Sunday comes, and boy, oh boy. So I have a book on that. That I'll send you both books anyway, because Dr. Dunn, I'd like to leave the Burnout book and that book because you brought it up.
Wonderful.
I'll send you the link to
Wonderful.
that so that your audience can get it for free.
Please do. So I do. I'm so curious. So when you talk about the burnout pie, specifically sleep, because I'm struggling with a lot of people trying to find solutions for better
Yeah,
sleep. As
yeah.
a certified herbalist, what do you recommend for that? What are some of the things you recommend for that slice of the pie to help people with their sleepless nights?
Oh my God, there are so many, I wish I could take a picture of one of my cabinet. A whole wall is dedicated to different, shoots to different teas. And I'm heavily into teas and stuff like that. And they work on like a layered choppy.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
start off, like, the main ones that are good for sleep or like, lavender number one, right?
Mhm.
It's one of the main one for sleep. And you start, and I mix them. I
Mhm.
mix them because as long as they're not conflicting and contradicting with each other, I mix them. And then before I get into start doing the remedy, I
Hmm.
make sure that there's nothing physically wrong with me. Is my blood pressure okay? Is my blood sugar okay? Is my heart beating right? Is there palpitation in my heart? Am I getting enough exercise? And because I'm not necessarily, prone to pharmaceutical stuff, I'm not, that's why I'm in the herbalist. It's been in me from the day I was born. My dad was a farmer and a minister. So I'm used to growing my own stuff. And I usually say,
Hmm.
you know what? If someone loves their coffee, yes, by all means have your coffee, but cut off the time you have your coffee. Drink your coffee in the morning and enjoy that coffee. They're saying there are benefits for that. I mean, if I wasn't so hyper to begin with, I love the smell of coffee. I'd be drinking. I'm too hyper. I need a couple herbal teas throughout the day. And now, you get into start maybe doing, hibiscus. You're looking at, with tea with a little Earl Grey mixed in it. So you're getting a little bit of
Hmm.
caffeine, but not the Java
Hmm.
one there, right?
Hmm.
And because I know huge coffee drinkers don't like decaf coffees, even though they say the benefits are the same. And you start layering, you don't just say, okay, I'm going to drink my coffee this morning at 10 a.m. And then you go to your lavender tea in the afternoon. And I don't know what happens to me. Coffee makes me sleepy, you
I've
know?
heard that for some people, yeah. And usually it's the people that tend to have extra energy and might be a little hyper anyway, that the
Yes.
caffeine almost works in reverse.
Yes, I can take it and go to bed, but I'm just scared the one night I do that, I'll never sleep. So, I'll keep it
Right, be
down.
careful.
Yeah, it's kind of careful. So you start laying it, we see you merge it into like a hibiscus. And I like the leaves, and I go to have like I buy small batch, from thing. And I look for the grade, they put on there the grade of caffeine. So if there's somebody who's used to that potent caffeine, you look for that where you merge it into, where there's a little bit of caffeine in there, but it's not going to affect your sleeplessness. And then in the afternoon, you just brew something and, sip it. The Japanese no tea, sipping, just sip it and whatever. Some people, my former mother-in-law used to say to me, I can't believe you wake up in the morning and drink tea. That makes me sick. Why would you drink coffee kind of thing? But, I drink strong black teas in the morning. So I get or strong green tea and I get my caffeine kick. So you merge it and you take it down and basically breaths. The breath is it. There's a reason why we have breath in our lungs because it works amazingly. I don't put my foot on bed unless I sit up and do 5 deep breaths. And I don't when I lie down, I might do 10 deep breaths and I just slowly take myself down. So I combine the herbal remedies with the with
Mhm.
the mindfulness. And I'm a certified yoga teacher, but I'm not going to do yoga at night. And most people were not used to that. When I want energy during the day, though, I will do a laughing yoga. And I don't care who sees me laughing, because after laughing for about 2 minutes, you can laugh yourself to tears coming down. And that's a
I
quick
heard
one.
you mention that earlier, and I was going to ask, but since you brought that up, I don't think I've ever heard of laughing yoga. So
Oh,
please tell
yes.
me more.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So laughing yoga, it's come in Maze. Of course, everything is, Eastern, we're Western, so everything starts there. And you start off basically with taking some deep breaths, because your mind, the minute you take deep breaths, there's a correlation between okay, she's ready to do something now. That's
Hmm.
an indication to the body that something is coming when you stop and mindfully do some breaths, right? So I do that, and then I might just start chuckling. And then I probably think of something, a little bit funny. And then after a while, I just start, and it goes in until you actually laugh without any reason to laugh. Out loud,
Hmm.
out loud. And you try, Doctor, you laugh, you laugh, you laugh. You have tears coming down your eyes because you're laughing that much, because it realizes it. And you come in and go, oh boy, that was good.
I'm gonna have to give it a try.
Yes,
I'm gonna
yes,
have to,
yes. It
that
works.
does well, and that suggests to me that maybe,
Yeah.
boy, my audience is gonna flip when they hear this. Maybe there is some benefit to all of those videos everybody's out there watching and scrolling on their phone. They do make us
Mm.
giggle a little bit,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, they don't have the benefit of what you just described. I mean, taking those deep breaths and feeling a true and honest belly laugh
Yes.
can be so healing.
Yes, Doctor. Your mind is a powerful, powerful brain. You know that. It's power. I see you drinking. Is it your coffee or your tea you're drinking?
You know, most of the time, sometimes it would be coffee, but today I don't, and I didn't even know you were going to speak on tea, but it is tea. I've got a little
Oh,
ginger and some cinnamon and
ooh,
maybe even some
ooh.
green tea going on in there.
Oh, isn't that lovely? Oh, that I have
Delicious.
so many teapots at home, all kinds. So no, no, it's literally, honestly, you can, I don't know. I want to shout it from the rooftop. I want to shout it to everybody that will listen that, we are here and we are meant and we have the intellect and the desire to heal ourselves.
Mhm, mhm,
Back in the days, people lived to 120,
mhm,
30, 40.
mhm.
How long? Yeah, I can't remember the names of them right now. My dad won't be pleased, but
Well, we
so
call
you
that the
do.
inner healing intelligence, right? When it comes to mental health, we all have that ability within us to heal from burnout, to sort our sleep issues. Sometimes it takes a little help. It takes help from a trained expert like yourself.
And it takes, and Dr. Dan, you do some great jobs too with, your remedies that you use and your retreats that you do for people. It is it's a matter of each one help one. And people will say to me, Jasmine, oh, someone said to me, I said, I got invited to do this podcast. And the first thing the person said to me, do you get paid? And I go, this is the world we live in nowadays, that, when I wake up in the morning doing what I love, and we're not perfect doing what I love, at the end of the day, that opens up something in me, the universe, the everything that out of the blue, something, you get rewarded is not the first thing. You're just happy when someone gets well. And, a quick little story, you let me know if I'm going too much, but back in the wellness business, I remember a son and mother came in, and the son came in with the mother because there was real problems at home with the husband and the mother, his father and his mother, and she was probably 300 pounds overweight. And when she came in my office, she sat down and I just said, to the son, they introduced us. And I said to the son, not that I don't want you in there, but would you leave for a minute? And what I wanted her to do, because she sat down and I could see the tears welling. I didn't want to hear anything that day. I created a safe space, a trusting space where she could sit and the body recognizes that. This is how we have to think about we're this machine, we're this thing on earth, intelligent thing on earth that it knows. And I let her sit and she cried and she cried and she cried and she cried and she cried. And I didn't say a word. I just sat there. I didn't lift up my phone. I just sat there with my hands in my lap. And I just sat and I let her cry right up to there was no more tears for her to cry. And I said, I'm going to ask you to do something for me now. I want you to go home. I'm not going to ask you anything today. I'm going to have you go home and I want you to come back, whichever your schedule is, within this week. I didn't ask about it. I'm going to put you on a program. I'm going to want to give you this money. I just want you to go home. I created something for her, she told me later, that she's never had.
Mhm.
She was able to be herself, get the emotions down, develop trust through me, know that there was nothing else I wanted from her other than for her to feel well.
Yeah.
And that was a big dose of wellness for her. And so when she came back, long story short, we dissected what we needed to do for her. I said, you're going to have to trust me. You're going to have to follow my lead. And this is how we're going to make, because it's oftentimes is not the husband that much. We dissected why she was reacting to everything in her home that was making her unwell. So when she found herself, her voice and herself and her confidence, she competed in a bodybuilding competition after. I couldn't shut her down. She was like, whoa.
Yeah. What a beautiful gift to give her that safe place, that
Yes,
container to share those emotions. And
yes,
and you're so right. And especially I think all people right now struggle to find that safe place, whether it's at home with their partner or spouse or in friendships. We need that. We need that community. We need that connection. We need to be able to have somebody or several people where we can be our true, authentic self and get those emotions out.
Oh,
Wow. What a beautiful gift you gave that person.
thank you so much, Dr. Ben. Thank you. Thank you. And like I said, it's my, when each one teach one, each one help one, right? And for me, what most people don't understand is at that time, the universe is funny. I took that whatever 15, 20 minutes of silence myself, and I enjoyed that because my office is a revolving door. I enjoyed that silence as well. And that's why I just let it be, let it is. And then, I see her, Sally, her name is Sally. I said, Sally, I don't know how to contain you anymore. You just a beast. You just, her
Oh,
marriage is happy again, and everybody's happy again. The husband got a hot looking wife, and
that's beautiful.
and
Well,
that's how we have to be.
yeah, and I think you make a good point. I think we struggle as people to sit and with our own silence these days.
Yes.
Right? We always have to be entertained by a screen or, well, usually a screen or something going on that we don't read books very much anymore, and we certainly don't sit in silence. And I know personally, in my recent work, I've found the power of that silence for myself and for others to just allow that container that there is that inner healing intelligence that we can tap into. And this woman that you helped so wonderfully obviously did that through that first session, and I'm sure through all the other amazing help you provided.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And it's you don't understand what you do at that time until you see the end product,
Right. So true. So
you
true.
know? And it wasn't about money, it wasn't about anything. It was about this person needed this space, and I probably needed that space. And that's how you go about doing what you need to do without expectations then. Without expectation. And I say that when I go into a company, and I tell you, I don't. If someone asks me when I go in to do a presentation, the first thing they ask me what I charge, I deliberately don't answer. I do that. I deliberately don't answer. I've done it in real estate where I walk
Mhm.
into somebody and they said, "Oh, I've interviewed three agents and I've got them down to 2%. And what's your commission?" I said, I'm here to do a presentation for you. I'll do the presentation. We'll address it at that time. And in the end, I get my full commission. And it's the same thing. I do. So
Mhm.
when you go into an organization and you're saying, I'm here to help your organization create a wellness culture that would, foster employee well-being, productivity, cut back on healthcare costs, aid in whatever thing that spells wellness. And sometimes I ask them, what does wellness mean to them?
Right.
I'm not coming in here, I can do that because I teach a mean class. I'm not coming in here to disrupt your work by having a big aerobics class in the middle of the day.
Right.
You know, I'm here to even ergonomics, how your employees sit at their desk,
Fascinating.
how they put their hands on their keyboard,
Hmm. Hmm.
how they're around the space. So wellness for me is, skill mastering simple skills to give big results. That's bottom line. That's my bottom line with wellness. And I'm educating someone that says wellness, health. When I say health and wellness, it's a big canvas. And someone might say to me, what would you want to speak on? I sometimes say, well, what do you want me to speak on? Because I can speak from A to B. If you can say to me, if you just speak on building a business, I'm still going to put wellness in there.
We
A lot of
definitely need
sick
more
businesses out.
wellness.
Yeah, a lot of sick businesses out there,
Hmm.
So I can put wellness into any basket that you put me to, because if you're a stock trader, if you're a financial guy, if you're an accountant, if you're that, and these are the people, the organization that I get butted most, because they're saying, well, this girl coming and telling me, I have to go do this finance thing and I have to get this, and there's a stock that's going up, and and I'm just taking a little piece. I can't fix the world, but if I just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit.
Well, I love your idea that when you help just a little bit, that helps the company, the company helps the community helps the world. And just with that little bit, you can have a big impact.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dan. Thank you. So I can call it Dr. Dan, right?
You can call what did we say earlier? As long as you're not cussing me out, you can call me whatever you want, Jasmine. I think
Oh,
Jasmine
yeah.
Dennis, you have been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you
taking the
so
time out
much.
of your busy schedule and the cold up there in Canada to come inside to the warm and chat with me. Where can people
Yes.
find out more about your amazing work and what you do?
Oh, absolutely. They can go on jasdhealth and wellness.com, the website. And because I like your audience to get a copy of my free book, I'll do the Burnout book. I can do the two, Happiness Monday, whatever, but I'll send you the link for those that you
Great.
can put in your note. And they go on my website. That little, if you were to go on my website right now and just say ABC, it comes to me like that, 2 minutes.
Hmm.
So on the website, jasdhealth.com, and it's, jasdhealth is one word,
Hmm.
jasdhealth.com. Then they can
Hmm.
go into LinkedIn. They can find me on
Hmm.
LinkedIn. And I'll say a little bit about LinkedIn because in my former work, with the heavyweight champion of the world, everything was so private, private. We weren't on social media anywhere.
Right, right.
So, you don't want anybody to find you. You could one little mistake and you lose the fight. So anyway,
Yeah.
so now I'm building my LinkedIn again. So you can find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on YouTube as well. Jasd Health. I'm doing a training platform there where it's just snippet of little bits and pieces, whether it's for HR managers, whether it's for just someone wanting to talk just a little bit. They're not long on workplace health and wellness. So there are quite a few videos on that as well. They can go onto the Jazz on the YouTube and get that. So yeah, I they can find me anywhere and reach out to me. And like I said, the minute they say they're on Dr. Dan show, I will tell them how they can get that book on burnout, and I'll include the one on Monday. That was a
Beautiful.
funny
So
one.
I can't wait to read it. You heard it, everybody. Check out
Health,
jazzdhealth.com
yes.
and connect with Jasmine here. Again, what a wonderful conversation. And that's just a
Thank
small
you so much.
sample of the beautiful work that you do for the people that bring you in. So, again, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Dr. Van. I appreciate it. And I follow you and I listen to you. I follow your work and I do,
Thank
what I
you.
mean, and all that stuff. We'll hope to talk to you in the future on that. Let me know when
Hey,
you're doing a
anytime.
retreat. Let me know when you're doing a retreat.
I'll let you know. We'll do a retreat together.
Okay, fantastic. Oh, boy, would I love that.
Excellent.
Have an
Take
awesome rest of the day. Thank you
you
so
too.
much for having me again.
It's been a pleasure. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.